Hey everyone, Alex here with Rowan Health and Wellness. Today I'm going to talk about how you might be exposed to some chemicals that you may not even be aware of. So things like your toothpaste, your deodorant, your shampoo, conditioners, body washes, soaps, all of that. If you're making all of these wonderful changes in your life and trying to eat organic, trying to eat whole foods, but then at the same time you're slathering your body with products that have chemicals that are harmful for you, it just is one more step to take to really work towards that healthy life. So, did you know it only takes 28 seconds from the time you put something on your skin to absorb into your skin, into your bloodstream, and then off it goes to your organs, where it takes hours for things to be filters through your body when you eat them. So you ingest them, so it goes through your stomach, your intestines, and then it runs through your liver before getting into your bloodstream and then eventually to things like your heart and your brain. Potentially 28 seconds from skin to organ. So David Suzuki has done an amazing job of rallying resources and taking a look at different ingredients that tend to be in our everyday personal care products that really actually can accumulate into some harm in your body. So he deems them the dirty dozen. So on this list, I challenge you at the end of today to take a look. Take this list. I've included it as a link in your email. Look through your personal care products and see if you have any of these in there. And then take a look and consider, is it worth maybe making some other choices when it comes to what it is that you're putting yourself and your family exposed to every day. So some of the ones on this list that really kind of concern me are things like coal tars. So these a lot of the time are in with coloring, they are hair dyes, things like that. Also could be in with things like lipsticks because of the color saturation that comes with them. This is coal. This is what we use for fuel. It should not be what we put on our skin. And there is that risk of carcinogens, so cancer causing, that comes with frequent use of being exposed to these things. Parabens. Parabens are something that's kind of been in the media a bit. You hear, oh, paraben free, paraben free. Why do I care if it's paraben free? Well, parabens are in about 75 to 90% of most of your personal care products. They're used to kind of keep things preserved, antimicrobials for a stretch of time. If you take a look on the labels, it won't always just be paraben, it'll be something like butylparaben or methylparaben or iso. You might have a few, more than one. The thing with parabens are they are hormone disruptors, so they will mimic estrogens in the body. So it's a pseudoestrogen. So all of the things that come with that, including there is a strong link. They can't prove that it's cancer causing, but they can show that there is a very high association between breast cancer and parabens. So this has been a big thing in the last few years of products going paraben free because there has been this evidence that's come out, this scientific evidence to show that there is that very strong, when one shows up, you tend to kind of see the other eventually. If you're especially someone who's already got estrogen issues, parabens might be something that you definitely want to look at reducing your exposure to. Things like perfume. We'll talk about perfume and fragrance in a minute. It in itself is just a very heavy topic. Ooh, and one more thing about parabens. It actually, if you have parabens in your sunscreen, the paraben itself will react with the UVB rays that are coming down, and it alone, that reaction in your skin, will change the DNA of your cells, therefore increasing some risk of skin cancer. So if you have parabens in your sunscreen, which is supposed to be preventing your risk of skin cancer, but it's actually in there changing the DNA, there was a scientific study actually out of China that showed this. So something to consider if you're looking at where to possibly take it out of. First, take a look at your sunscreen and see if it has any parabens. All right. Sodium laureth, or lauryl sulfate. It's kind of the ingredient that makes things foamy, makes you feel clean. For some reason, we need things to look foamy in order for us to feel like they're making us clean. And this is the ingredient that ultimately does that for us. Unfortunately, the other thing that sodium lauryl sulfate can do for us is really irritate. So again, I have psoriasis, so if I use a shampoo that has sodium lauryl sulfate in it, it actually will agitate my scalp. If you have dandruff, something like that, where it agitates the scalp, not great. If you have sodium lauryl sulfate in your toothpaste, it can actually been shown to encourage canker sores, which nobody enjoys. Now, that's lauryl sulfate. Laureth, it's all about the processing. And again, because cosmetics and personal care products aren't monitored to the same standard as medications are by any organization, they don't have to prove how well their ingredients are refined. So not that in every instance it may be, but in some instances there could be a contamination still, something called 1,4-dioxane, which has been proved to be cancer causing. Again, if you see either of these ingredients, they don't do anything other than make the product look foamy. So if you can, start to reduce how many products you have in. I was surprised when I came home and learned all of this, how many of my products did have sodium lauryl and laureth sulfate in them. Everything from hand soap, detergents, dish soaps, my toothpaste, my shampoos, my conditioners. Again, that was a big thing that I took out right away. So that was certainly a big game changer for me. Things like petroleum and mineral oil really doesn't do much for you other than cause like an occlusive layer that goes over your skin. Doesn't give you anything other than being a filler, a cheap filler. And again, it's that you don't know how well it's been processed. So it still could have lingering components of petroleum, which is gasoline, which you use for your cars, most of them. That's lingering around, and now you are putting that on your skin, again, increasing your exposure to things that could potentially add up to a cancer-causing environment. Phthalates. Oh, phthalates. So if you remember the big movement a few years ago about all the phthalates coming out of your water bottles because they deemed that it was toxic to the liver and the kidneys and children were dying from exposure to it, well, they took it out of the containers that hold our food, but they didn't take it out of containers necessarily that hold our cosmetics or our shampoos. So there is that possibility that A, that's still in there, but also the fact that it could actually be in the products themselves as well. So taking a look at the phthalates, especially when we talk about perfume. So remember that link. Other things that are a little unnerving are formaldehyde releasing preservatives. So it's not like it'll say formaldehyde on the product itself, but when it gets into your body, it's known to react and actually form formaldehyde. So there was a big thing with Johnson & Johnson a few years ago about having some of these preservatives in there and the concern that raised with some of the public and some of the changes they had to make. So as a whole, all of those ingredients, if you want to know more about them and go a little more in depth, please check out David Suzuki's Dirty Dozen. But all of these chemicals have been identified as potential cancer-causing endocrine receptors, so things that mimic hormones or change how our bodies use hormones. So if you're suffering with things like fertility or looking at cancer of reproductive organs, so for men, prostate, for women, you're looking at your ovaries, your breasts, uterus, all of that. It's a big possibility that this is one more thing that you could do to help reduce your risk. Neurotoxins. So, again, if you're getting headaches, you're feeling sleepy, you're having pain throughout your body, this could be, again, another possibility that's contributing to it that we would like to reduce our risk to by taking it out of our everyday stuff. The other thing too, you wash all of this and it goes down the drain. And then it goes into our water systems, and it's pretty much every single one of these products has been shown to be toxic to aquatic life. So if it wasn't enough already to say this is harming you, it's also harming our environment. So just one more thing to consider while we're looking at that. The other thing to think about, and I found this kind of very curious, and we say that Europe usually is ahead of North America in certain things, and I would certainly say that when it comes to things like our personal care products, this is one of them. So the European Union has pretty much banned or heavily regulated all of the ingredients that are listed in the Dirty Dozen, versus North America that either has not regulated it or hasn't even investigated the risks that go with it. It's kind of a reverse. In the European countries, you have to prove something's safe before it can go in, whereas with North America, you have to prove that it's unsafe for them to take it out. So it needs to be a pretty substantial risk for things to come out. So this is where being that informed consumer really goes a long way. Fragrance. So this was something I was going to chat with you guys about. There's a bit of a loophole when it comes to fragrance. It can be listed as one ingredient, but because they're considered trade secrets, because, again, everybody knows what Old Spice smells like, or everybody knows what Chanel smells like, right? So it's just fragrance. But within that one term, you can actually have up to 300 different ingredients. And of those ingredients, there was a study done, and it looked at 16% of the products are suspected to cause cancer in fragrance. 67 of them contain actual known allergens. So you think, oh my goodness, I walked into a store and they have that fragrance center and you walk through it and your eyes water, your nose starts to run, you start coughing a little bit because it's just that potent. 67% of the ingredients in fragrance are known allergens. That's why we have things that are areas like in the hospitals that are considered scent-free because so many people have these reactions. And 98% of the ingredients haven't actually even been assessed for safety in cosmetics. So again, very unnerving facts when you start to look at, you spray this on your body every day, all day. So even things that will be fragrance-free can still, or unscented, will have some of these ingredients in them. You'll notice that it'll be unscented, but it'll still say perfume or a scent in it. And a lot of times it's to mask the smell of the other things that are in there. So although it's a curious scent, it might still have things that you want to cover up, and that's what we use these ingredients for. Now remember I said, remember phthalates when we come back around to when we talk about fragrance. Phthalates, specifically DEP, is in a lot of these fragrance umbrella terms because what it does is actually helps the scent stick to your skin. That's how it works. So if you spray something on and you have that same smell 5-6 hours later, chances are it's sticking to your skin because of phthalates. And remember, phthalates were those hormone receptors and the hormone mimicking that we worry about. So an interesting thing too, organics. So whether you're in the US or in Canada, there are a lot of actual regulations around what can be considered organic and what's not. So if that's something that's important to you and you don't want additional chemicals in your products, the US has 4 standards for organic. There's 100% organic, so they'll actually have that green and white seal. To be just organic, they have to demonstrate that 95% of their ingredients are organic. Organic ingredients means at least 70% of them are organic, and anything less than that is less than 70% organic. So there is some actual guidelines around that. In Canada, we have 3 different standards. We have organic, where 95 or more % of the product is organic, and then you'll get the logo, the Canada Organics. Products that have 70 to 95% of the ingredients can claim that a certain percentage are organic. Anything that again is less than 70%, they shouldn't be able to use the organic claim on the product. So again, buyer beware. Just when you're out there, if you're looking for something organic, there are different categories. So if you want something that's over 95, if you're looking for something that's over 95%, you want to look for the seals. Anything that's 70 to 95 in either country, it can be included as organic ingredients, but not everything is organic. It could still have some of these chemical compounds. Anything less than 70 though should not have any mention of organic on them. So keeping that in mind, So how can you be sure? Now, giving you all kinds of information, buyer beware. We're just learning how to read our food labels properly. So now we're asking you to learn to look at your personal care products and the labels that they have. So again, great place to start is to look at the Dirty Dozen. Print those off, take them with you, go through your closets at home, your bathrooms, check what's in all of the stuff that you're coming in contact with on a daily basis. If you have questions about whether or not something is deemed to be on the safer side from the organic point of view, from the chemical point of view, maybe there's chemicals in there that aren't on the Dirty Dozen, but you're not sure if those are. A lot of the times, if I look at something and I have trouble pronouncing it, I probably don't want it in any of my stuff. So if you have a second guessing, you can always check out the Environmental Working Group. They have a database of over 70,000 ratings. They are an independent third-party organization, and they are out there to help us make those smart choices. So if you're wondering if the shampoo that doesn't maybe have some other things in it that's on the Dirty Dozen, but it has some other long chemical names on it, check it out. It will give you a rating of how safe it is and what to watch for and how it might affect your health. So there's a link right there that I've included here in the presentation as well as in the email. So you can take a look there if you want to research any of your products either that you currently use or that you're thinking of buying in the future. So my challenge to you today is go to your bathrooms, your bedrooms, all of your makeup kits, all of that, take a look. You might be putting yourself at an increased risk for certain conditions. And if you're already, again, like I said, making those lifestyle changes and looking at eating organic, eating clean, eating whole, and you're just not quite there yet, this might be one of those extra steps that you can take in order to reach better health. All right, guys, and on that note, I wish you all health and happiness, and I'll see you again soon.